your mind. Join us as we go deep and see what we find. Don't just stay in the shallow, follow us into the atmosphere. This discussion's going to a new level, cause you know we're about to go deep in here. Deep space.
Woohoo! Welcome back for another episode of Deep Space. Man, y'all just hurt my feelings. Listen, if you're a regular viewer, thanks for tuning in again. Today, we have a great show for you. And in case you can't see what I can see, we were up to 10 viewers, and then I came on, and y'all back down to 1 viewer. And it's like, I didn't even say anything yet. Like, that's men's rights right there. Like, damn, I'm that ugly. Like, I don't even have the right to a 30-second intro. Y'all just gonna click away. Just click right away. It's just gone. Anyways, today we're doing men's rights part 2. Listen, we're talking a little bit before. Again, quick disclaimer: before you scream incel and you click off your computer and you don't want to hear what we're talking about, you know, we are not trying to take away from the women's rights movement. We're just saying that there are issues that men face in this country that no one wants to talk about. And you guys know what Deep Space is all about. We talk about those hard topics and we give you different viewpoints. So today we're going to be talking about men's rights to their kids, alimony, divorces in general. And we actually have a very special guest that I'll introduce in a little bit. But before we get to that, I do have to plug at the beginning of every show now because we got picked up by sponsors. It's so weird. Listen, if you're hungry like I'm hungry, go ahead and get yourself some Ohio City barbecue. Just mention Eargasm Comedy sent you. They'll give you 15% off. That's right, 15% off your whole order of barbecue ribs, pulled pork, brisket, cornbread, all the good soul food you love. Go check them out. Tell them Eargasm sent you. And listen, if you're looking to sell your house, Brick and Equity buys houses cash. Give them a call and they will make you an offer the same day. They'll come out, give it a look, and go on over and do whatever they got to do for you. Finally, some unpaid sponsorships real quick. Go ahead and check out the Six City Comedy Festival. They're coming in August. And if you don't know, now you know, we're doing our first show back. That's right, the comedy tasting. Get your little taste of Cleveland's great comedy scene. It's going to be coming July 31st, and we're putting that event on. And it's benefiting All About the Paws out of Youngstown. So if you'd like to support them directly, here's our sponsorship package, and that's all the plug-in you're getting. Let's bring in the crew. Oh, my God, Dino, you look so sexy. Marco, you look weird as always. Randy Brown, welcome to the stage, my man.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a floating head here, huh?
I
don't Zoom. You know, truck drivers don't get to Zoom to work, so I haven't had a whole lot of Zoom experience. But I'm in here. I'm good.
You're doing great.
And he looks like Oz before he got the curtain and everything.
I want to know why so many of our guests join us from the basement. That's all I want to know. Like, Brandy, if you need help, blink twice.
No, I'm good. It's the
thank you, Marco.
It's currently kind of the only place I can hide right now. So.
All right,
it's probably the only place most people can hide.
We are going to have a special guest. I do see her backstage. She is getting set up in her hotel room to talk to us. So as soon as she's ready, we'll bring her in. But today we're being joined by the beautiful, amazing Michelle Traina from the Divorce Diary series. And I just lost her camera, so I don't know what she's doing. So let's dive right into this, boys and girls. Men's rights. Last week we talked about men's rights to their kids. We talked about the higher incarceration rate for men. Where do you guys want to dive in here?
Well, where do you want to start? I mean, you want to pick up where we left off? You want to add new issues?
I threw you the ball and you punted it back at me. Let's talk about.
I threw a lateral.
Let's talk about men's rights to their kids.
Okay. Well, last week we were talking about how there things especially in family court, tend to be skewed, right? Yeah. And one of the things we covered was that the focus is predominantly not on what's best for the child, but it's more tailored to older values, such as where mother would be the primary caregiver to children, right? And the fact is that we were saying that that's not really fair anymore because times have changed.
Yeah, and I guess that could go into the whole patriarchy thing that these feminists always complain about. But they don't realize that the patriarchy started with them old school values because women didn't carry muskets and they didn't fight bears and then they go out and hunt shit. So the patriarchy was pretty much put in standing to pick up, what the women didn't do or couldn't do or didn't want to do. And now, we flash forward how many fucking decades, and now it's everything's ran by men. Go hunt a deer, bitch. Well, I know a lot of chicks who hunt deer, but go ahead hunt a bear.
That's a really vulgar way to say it, but I'm kind of with Margot for once. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I think he says it a little better. It's kind of, they want to tear down the patriarchy, but they don't have a solution to build it back up. And it's kind of like, well, all these years of civilization, look at what the patriarchy has given you. And sure, it's not perfect, but it is. We're all alive. We're all alive. Damn it! And you now have the right. You now have the right to complain about it, right? So,
speaking of the alive thing,
completely flawed. Go ahead, Dino first, because Dino had something. I cut him off.
Well, no, it's more so that just that one of the things like early on in the relationship with my wife, like one of the things we talked about was if she comes to me with a problem, she is now the problem, right? She's the identity of the problem. Whereas when you bring up a subject with, hey, they're identifying a problem and then a possible solution, well, now it's us against that problem. And that's the thing is like when people are like, well, this shouldn't be like that. Okay, how should it be? Like there's a lot of steps that we're missing in that conversation that, and make people enemies instead of actually willing to talk about things.
Well, see, I think that was Jordan's kind of point on the patriarchy. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys.
Hey, we're so glad to have you. We're going to plug your show in about 10 seconds, but we're talking about the whole feminism wanting to tear down the male patriarchy. And I think that was kind of his point is it's like, yeah, it's flawed and we can work together to fix it, but it doesn't seem like that's what you want. Like you just want to tear down the system. I don't know. Well, I don't know, Dino.
Let me jump in here on this.
Yeah.
Really, it's going to depend, honestly, where you are, in the country. That's going to dictate kind of how the judges perceive things. Like, he just mentioned, that it's kind of like a old traditional values type of thing, which is true depending on where you are, but. It's actually money that dictates what happens.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I mean, I see where you're going with it, but this comes back to the men's rights to their kids. The courts they're more biased towards women. I mean, it can be proven statistically if you want to look into it, but it's just if you're a woman and you're fighting a man and you're both equal, let's say you both have the same amount of money, you both got houses, you're more likely to win custody of your child because you're a woman.
If things are equal, yes, but if they get tipped one way or the other, if it gets tipped to the direction where the woman has less or the ex-wife would have less than the husband,
I don't know.
The husband, if a guy has a really good job, he can absolutely take custody.
See, I've seen a lot of it go the other way. The man may have a good job. I mean, and again, it's all.
Well, let me tell you the ingredient that you need also for this to occur more than the money, more than the more favorable situation. And this happens both ways. Men, mothers will do this and fathers will do this. They will manipulate the children against the other parent.
Yeah, that does happen all too often. But let me ask you this first of all: what state are you in?
Me? I'm in Ohio.
Okay. Because I thought for a second you were in a different state there. So what I was leading into is I feel like more times than not it doesn't really matter because I've seen a lot of men where the women didn't even have a job and they were granted custody, and then the child support makes up for that in the court's mind, supposedly. So I don't think it's so much the job that has to do with it. I don't think that is the great equalizer.
It's not.
What do you think, Michelle?
Well, no, I just said you have to manipulate the children to choose you over the other parent. That happens. It's a significant issue. It comes from a pathology. It comes from a narcissistic personality. The dynamic of the relationship is going on during the marriage. Let's just say one person is being that narcissistic personality, manipulating everyone, the children and their spouse, everybody included. And when the spouse wants out, they start with manipulation. They'll say things like, if you split with me, then you're never going to see the kids. I'm going to take them from you. And then, that only works for so long. And then if the two actually split, they're things have been going on. And it's likely that the narcissistic personality parent is turning the children against the other parent. It does happen way more with moms doing it to fathers, but it does happen the other way around, where men will put down the kid's mother to be favored and then use that to win in court.
It happens a lot. It happened to me, but I think that what you're saying is valid. I think everything that you say is valid. Anyone that's gone through divorce and has to deal with this is valid because they have their own experience to bring to the table. I just want to just say thanks for having me again, Ryan, and all the guys. I was thank you for having me. This is actually a very important conversation to have, because especially in the last year with this, quote unquote cancel culture, people are not able to have conversations and disagree comfortably, right? And I think that it's okay if I have a disagreement with one of you guys, because I think you guys are awesome. I have friends who are female that would disagree with me on certain things that I feel about custody and alimony, all this stuff, right? I think that everyone's experience is different. I think that it can go both ways. I experienced a lot of, I'm so sorry, Randy, what you were talking about, from my daughter was only 20 months when she didn't really know us together. And my ex-husband was so frustrated with me, and we're in a good place now. He was so frustrated with me because he didn't want the divorce, that he was reacting in such a foul way that it was like, you can't do that in front of our kid. And for him, it was like, but this is because I'm upset. And so for me, I was like, well, you're going to create this uncomfortableness for our kid. Now, luckily that stopped, we just kind of co-parent now, but I do think that, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's apparently alienation coaches and like for this specific thing, where if there's a parent that's alienating the kid, and I think that's a perspective, right? Because how do you actually, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what the guidelines are for going into that, but I think that the majority of the time there's a lot of like, this is again my opinion and my perspective. We see a lot of like, let's bash the man. Even in my comedy, I'm like, my ex-husband owed me money, like joking around, right? Should be doing this. And like I was saying to my friend, I was like, he isn't that bad, but sometimes I get so frustrated and I'll poke a joke about it. But then in the other situation where there's people that actually do that because in their perspective, they actually think they're right? Whether they're narcissistic or not, whatever the term is. And it's a struggle. And unfortunately, I think that we've seen so many male cases where it's like, they're the bad guy, right? And it sucks because there are a lot of good dads out there, Ryan, Mark, I'm just saying, like, and then it gets that other, I personally think that it's just everyone's circumstance is different, right? And everyone's circumstance is different. And I think that bringing to light the perspective from a male, because, we want to hear that, we want to dialogue about it, and then see where you go from there. There's a lot of like divorce attorneys and divorce coaches that put these programs out about narcissism and how to like combat them. And I kind of think it's funny because I'm like, how do we decide? Because sometimes, have you ever been in a relationship where you each call each other a narcissist? I think you know what I mean? Like, who's a narcissist? Yeah. Good.
Well, the person that never, ever, ever questions what they do.
Let's be real. Everyone on your screen has a little bit of narcissism in them.
100%.
Oh,
yeah, we all have those tendencies, but I think that narcissistic empath relationship with men and women, whether it's the man being the narcissist or the woman being the narcissist, and even in past just relationships as parents, that happens a lot where that's that attraction too, where there's the light and then there's the person that kind of feeds off of that. And sometimes an empathetic person can start to develop those tendencies too, because they're kind of feeding off each other. Now, that's for me, from what I know about those two kinds of personalities, I kind of think, I don't know if this is factual, but because of the men I've dated, I'm like, this is why he's not loving me. No, but I think that, yeah, I mean, there's, I'm trying to bring some humor to it. This is a heavy topic. I definitely am curious to know. So are we saying that majority, just out of curiosity, are we saying majority of courts are going to favor the woman and the men kind of get shafted, right? Is that kind of what we're talking about?
We've been talking about with the last episode and this one, there's a bias for sure, especially when it comes to the rights to getting custody of your children or seeing your children. Yeah. There's a clear bias against, the father in our humble opinions. Go ahead, Dino.
Sorry, it's more so that the assumption is that the kids should be with the mother, and like there's a lot of, I think it's important that we break down, like there's number one, there's been a communication breakdown in a relationship. That's an issue. Then you have the fact that people have a sense of entitlement and things like that, and inequality, right? But also the assumption is that, realistically, if I had split with my wife and we had kids, right? Do you want this watching them for a sleepover? No, you don't. Why? Because this is it's crazy, right? It's not, there's the assumption that the mother would be the caregiver, right? So there's the onus of proof for a man to get custody is harder, right? Because there's a lot of assumptions. Marco, go. He's not here, so.
Yeah, I noticed. All right, so touching on a little bit of what everybody said here. When I was going through this, now I've heard now that courts have changed over the past. I've had custody of my kids for, I think, 8-10 years now. When I started going for custody of my children, I had that mentality. You don't take away kids from their mom. I had extenuating circumstances, but I was still, of the faith of not only the system, but of human decency, I guess, if you would call it. Mm-hmm. And it went from, doing what was right for the kids to becoming a giant competition where when I didn't want to be cutthroat and I didn't want to be ruthless, I was kind of forced to. Now, I did have the money and I did have the better job and I did have a better home, but it didn't matter two fucks. My older kids' mom was on meth and she failed a test to the courts. And they looked at me because I refused to take a drug test. And I only had weed in my system. But they looked down on me for that. I almost lost my kids in the simple fact that I didn't have a wedding ring on. My attorney told me that you got a girlfriend, throw a ring on her finger, it'll look good in the long run. Whether you marry her or not, the courts see that. Which is some bullshit. It goes back
to posturing, right?
There's tons of loops that we go through when we're trying to win custody of our kids like that. It's all kinds of weird stuff. You do have to look way better as the man for some reason. But to what Michelle was saying, like with divorce and like the rights of the kids, I guess my question I wanted to ask the crew and to our viewers, and we're going to get to some comments soon. I do see you guys all chiming in. The comments are live. We'll respond in a minute, but I don't understand why people don't talk about their children, when they're first getting married. Like when they're like, I mean, I'm already having these conversations and maybe it's because I've gone through a mess before, but it's like, talk about that shit now. Talk about who you think should get custody or if you should share custody. What shared custody looks like if shit doesn't work out,
Well, that's taboo, like the whole prenup thing.
That's the prenup. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of conversation, I think. So what you were saying with the question about I know men that get alimony. I know men. I think it's just but I also know, but there is a different class system. So for example, definitely my ex-husband. I feel like it just in New Jersey, from what I went through, I was told girl, it doesn't matter what he does, you're going to get 50-50. Because so what happened with when my divorce was happening was my ex-husband did some things that I was like, yo, what the hell? Maybe I should have full custody. And I didn't really I mean, I feel like in my perspective, a rational parent wants their kid to see both parents as long as the other parent isn't doing something so harmful in front. You know what I mean? So what drove me to the point, I had thought about it for a second. And then my lawyer's like, Michelle, in the state of New Jersey, again, I don't know other states, it's very hard to convince, this was years ago, this was about 6 years ago, a judge that person is unfit to give them full custody. So that's my experience. It's not easy.
But what I want to know, like full custody is a thing, but I don't think shared custody is not as big as a thing as I think it could and should be in this country. Like, you don't necessarily need to have someone have complete custody of the children. But listen, I want to ask this question to our viewers. We're getting to about the halfway point of the show, so we are going to talk more about alimony in the second half. Let us know in the comments, do you think that more men should get alimony, that it should be a more prevalent thing in this country in divorces? That's our big hot topic issue for today. And with that being said, we have a second brave woman who wants to come on and talk about this. My very own sister, who I wasn't going to bring up, would like to come on the show. So, hey, I do see the comments, guys. And if you ever want to come on, just hit us up. All right, let's see how you're doing. Lisa, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello.
Thank you for
she looks so much better than you.
Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Listen, thank you for balancing out the libido in this show. It was getting sausage festy, and Michelle was uncomfortable. So thanks for coming on with us.
I'm here to support you, girl.
It's so funny. I said it to Pete. That's why.
Ladies, here's a question since you're both here. Why is prenup such a dirty word when a man brings it up to you? Like when it's the other way around, it's not so much of a thing. But like if Michelle, we've been dating for 6 months and I go, listen, I like you and I could see myself marrying you, but we got to get some shit in writing. You just don't like that. You just like, no.
I would love that. I actually like it. And I actually would then give you my ring size because I feel like there's no way I would want to go through what I went through, which was very minuscule in the scheme of things, but still pain in the ass. I would definitely 100% sign a prenup.
I have no problems with the prenup, but when I met my husband, he had absolutely nothing. And when I'm walking away from this 24-year marriage, after what I've been through with him, I'm taking everything that I deserve in this marriage. And after everything, since my 13-year-old girl does not talk to me anymore, and probably will never talk to me again after what this man has told her, I'm taking everything that belongs to me. Period.
Ryan, is she coming to the show tomorrow night?
I could invite her. She lives quite far.
I have. Okay, so wait. I have a ticket under my entertainment lawyer, so she's gonna get that.
I can't. I have to work. I probably will work till 8 o'clock because I have to have 2 jobs to support myself because I don't get crap from him. Just to let you guys know,
you need to come right after work.
He makes $10,000 a month compared to my $600 a month. So I have to work 2 jobs.
And that's after 24 years?
I'm not downing
men.
No, my divorce is not final yet.
But you've been together for 24 years.
Lisa, I will say this is live on the internet, so I'm not your lawyer, but I'm just saying, kind of watch it a little bit. You know, I don't know. Ryan, I don't want you to do anything.
Do you honestly think he's watching this, Ryan?
I love your sister, Ryan.
Yeah. Do you honestly think, Ryan? Come on now.
Okay. All right. Listen, that was your fair and final warning. Okay. That's all I'm doing.
I know. I know what I'm doing. Doing.
Because the divorce is not final, and I have my own opinions too. But that is your situation is so fucked, and it's the other end of the spectrum too. So like,
yes, it is.
Back to what I said at the beginning of the show. I'm not saying that we need to flip the spectrum the other way. I'm just saying that we do need to get some more equality for men when they go through these proceedings. Go ahead, Marco.
Yes.
All right. So, I guess my whole thoughts on the alimony thing or prenup thing altogether. If you guys built, if you guys both had nothing to begin with and you built something together, then an equal split or a fair share is fine.
Absolutely.
But this bullshit because you caught, a bad relationship and things didn't work out, and now you think you deserve more, whether it's the male or the female in the situation, you deserve more. Well, who's to say you deserve more? Just because your outlook, you feel like you got fucked over? And this, this whole bullshit, alimony was brought up way back in the day when women could barely get a job. And you left if you left your old lady, she was called a spinstress or whatever, and it was very hard for her to find somebody else. The days of that shit is over. This whole alimony thing is horseshit. Exactly, you're exactly right.
Look, I don't want to.
Neither one of the parties should be getting anything. You broke up. You're on your own fucking shit.
No, I don't. I'm not with you, Mark.
Because you know what? Listen to me. If he gets custody of my child, which he does not deserve, and if I could tell you guys the reasons, I would. If he gets custody of my child, I will be more than happy to pay whatever child support the court believes that I should pay.
That's totally different. Child support and the support of you.
You hit one and then you went a little bit too far, and we got to get the plugs. That's why I'm chiming in here. But I do look. You are entitled to some if you build together, right? What that split is, that's why you need a prenup, okay? But there should be a split if you build together.
Absolutely.
Now, with Lisa's situation, I don't want to do. Lisa was the homemaker while so-and-so,
and that was our agreement.
Worked it out. And this is the classic reason that alimony exists, right? Because now they're getting a divorce, and Lisa doesn't have. Lisa is now, starting into the job market close to when she would be retiring, right? So that's the perfect
I'm 48
case.
Years old. I'm going to be 49 this year.
That's the perfect case where you need alimony either way, right? Like, because if you have an agreement and you are the homemaker, whether you're a male or a female, and you spent 20 years being a homemaker, now when you go back into the job market, what are you going to do? Flip burgers?
And I'm not asking for that for the rest of my life. I'm only asking for that for a time period to where I can go to college and get myself a degree, to where I can make my own money, to where I don't need his shit no more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's why I'm for
Well, you do need it for a little longer.
I need it. I need that.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's another clause, which I'm not going to mention, that by a certain law, which I can't mention, I'm entitled to, and I'm going to get that for the rest of my life.
Don't mention none of that shit.
I'm not going to mention that, and you know what I'm talking about, Ryan.
I know. We're gonna get to alimony back in a second here, and Randy, I see that you want to go, but real quick, it's time. It's so time. Hold on, let's just do this. Lisa, don't go anywhere. Randy, don't go anywhere. I know you're new. I'm just playing with the camera.
I'm gonna record this for Pete because I want to put this on his thing. He wanted me to do it. All
right. Should I take away the alimony or should we leave the alimony up for Pete? I'm leaving the alimony. Pete, I want half. I want half of whatever you got. You did me dirty, Pete. I gave you the best years of my life.
No, Pete's amazing. He's great. He's such a sweetheart, and his wife, and his wife. The love story behind the two of them makes me feel like I have faith in finding love, and I'm 39 and I'm so excited. Sorry, I jumped the gun, but
no, Pete, you're good. We're going to get to your plug, but no, Pete, no, thank you for booking Michelle. I think it's awesome. He picked you up from the airport, by the way.
And I told him about Eargasm, how I'm going to be on tonight. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know that. And he said, I guess he was mentioning you. He's like, oh yeah, I know him. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Because they're all coming tomorrow night. Hopefully you're all.
Okay, now what you're going to need to do now is you need to figure out if it's a good or a bad thing, because I don't know which way Pete leans. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get stabbed outside or if I'm going to get discounted tickets. But listen, speaking of tickets, Michelle Traina is the lovely, beautiful contest winner from our last virtual contest it was. And now she's starting to travel the world. So she is actually in Ohio for one night only. She's going to be at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls, July 15th. She's got all these great flyers out. She'll be doing her Divorce Diary show, talk a little bit about that. So tell the people a little bit about that there, Michelle.
Yes. So I am performing tomorrow night at Funny Stop Comedy Club in Cuyahoga Falls at 8:00. And I think that he's doing a deal now where if you call tomorrow before 1:00, you can get $15 tickets.
$15 tickets. Okay, if they call in tomorrow. Because I was going to say, I went to the Funny Stop's website, and we're going to pull that up. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Funny Stop there in Cuyahoga Falls. They're one of our great entertainment clubs here.
I guess we're going to tell it now because they're going to go online. But they should go online first.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Michelle Traina, 8 p.m. You're girl, you're in the limelight. Girl, you're featured. Okay. Listen, I love this, and you get your tickets right here. They're $20, but what she is saying that if you call into the club tomorrow, which I don't see their contact number, I'll find it for you.
Oh, it's right. I'll put it on here. We'll put it on the link. But either way, I think there's only a few for the. Yeah, we'll put it. I'll give you the number right now. I'll give it to you right now. Hold up, because Pete gave it to me a couple times.
So it's the Funny Stop Comedy Club in Cuyahoga Falls. You can find them. Just Google Funny Stop, and we're going to give you a number called tomorrow. You get discounted tickets just for watching. I promise you, it's going to be an amazing show. Eargasm is coming through to check her out. It's going to be great. You got the number?
Hold on. Wait. Because his husband. Yes, it's coming. It's coming. My internet. Come on.
Focus. Okay, we're gonna plug the rest of the plugs. Oh, okay. 330.
Yeah, plug the rest of the plugs. Oh no, I came through. 330-923-4700. 330-923-4700.
Right on. Call that number and you're going to get some discounted tickets from us to you. Hey, speaking of discounts, don't forget to check out Ohio City Barbecue. Mention Eargasm and get 15% off. And then speaking of upcoming shows, ladies and gents, this comedy tasting is happening July 31st, and we need you to come. It's supporting the All About the Paws charity out of Youngstown. They are an animal shelter that needs your love, so make sure you buy a ticket. Don't forget to check out the Six City Comedy Special Festival put on by Marla, who was on last week. And finally, and most importantly, if you're looking to sell your house, maybe you're going through a messy divorce, maybe you just want to sell the house before he gets it, go ahead and call Brick and Equity right there, and they will help you take care of that process. Don't ask me to plug you and tell me not. Like, don't tell. They gave me no direction, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll plug you, whatever, it's fine. All right, and finally, one more again. There you go. That's all the information right there for the comedy tasting. And if you like this virtual stuff, check us out every Friday. Maybe we'll get Michelle on after she's done with Pete. So no, but for real, go check them out. Seriously, we'll be there tonight. You can hang with us. Maybe I'll buy you a beer if you come. Funny Stop, July 15th. Michelle, I have one question for you. I'll bring the crew back in on this one. Okay, Now as a booker, I struggle when I'm making flyers, right? I'm gonna bring my sister in here, okay? Because like you're a very beautiful woman, okay? I'm just putting this out there, but like you made this, and you put your cleavage all over this thing, okay? Me as a booker, I cannot do that. I feel dirty.
Well, I don't know what you're saying.
You can.
You got hairy cleavage.
Please don't, Ryan.
Okay. Here's my question. Can I put do you think that if I put my cleavage on a flyer, do you think it would help me sell tickets?
Absolutely not.
You'd have better luck with me in a bunny outfit.
I can't hear anything.
Michelle, you gotta go. You gotta log out and come back in. I'm gonna kick you. Come back. You just glitched. That's all. All right, kick you. Yeah, kick the Horse Diaries. Get out of here. We plugged you. We're done with you. Why are my titties not as powerful? That's all I'm saying. Like
I believe they are, Ryan. I'm sure that it would be just as productive for you as it is for her.
You're just catering to the wrong crowd.
Well, wrong depends.
I actually want to ask her about this. It's not so much about, look, the titties thing is funny, okay? But really, like, when you're putting a show together, like, as an event producer, like, if a female sends me a picture, I feel like I just got to take whatever. Like, I can't be like, yeah, sweetie, you look like you're going to go into a prison lineup. Could you maybe wear something like, no matter what I say at that point, it's all bad. Wait, can
I start coming to this?
Yes.
I missed what you said, but this is the gist of those promos. So the promos aren't just me hanging out in a bikini to hang out in a bikini. It's the story of me as a single mom. I'm a free spirit. I like wearing no clothes sometimes. I love my bikinis. I also love being a mom and a theater teacher. So any of those promos reflect my content and the ones I do on stage, so that it's not just being silly for no reason. There's a specific thread, right? And the promos and the content match what the show is. So for me, it's summertime. I am always the single mom out at the pool wearing the leopard print bikinis. So that's part of the show, right? And part of the bit. So that's why I do them. It's not just to be,
So I got a question. Wait a minute, Ryan. This is important.
I'm going on this. I'm going on with this one. Right. Here's what I'm saying, okay? The Funny Stop is a professional. I still can't hear you. Why can't you hear me? That's so weird. Hello.
It's the internet, I think.
Okay, all right. The Funny Stop is a very professional club, okay? And you sent in these pictures. And I'm sitting here going, I'm like, all right, like if you send me this headshot, now, number one, I'm like, I don't know if I put that on my company website. Like, I don't know if that's okay. And number two, it's like, how do you ask for something else? Like, as a booker, how do you go, yeah, you know, I don't know if I want that much of your tits.
Why would you? Are you mental?
I don't know. Like, listen, this show's fraternity. Okay, you know, we're going out there to a cleaner audience. I don't know.
That is when woke goes broke. Shut the fuck up, guy. Are you kidding me? That's
exactly.
Perfect.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Perfect. Ryan, you're a dunce. You're a dipshit.
That little small cleavage picture got her at least 4 more tickets. Titties alone. What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm just looking for content. I'm looking for the moment.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing it wrong. We're not saying anything bad about the club, right?
No. We're saying
great things about.
I missed what we were saying about my headshot. What's wrong with my headshot?
We're saying
not a damn thing.
We're saying great things about the club. We're talking about what to do as a show booker when a comedian sends you a mud wrestling bikini shot. Like, do you put that?
Thank you for selling out my show. I appreciate it. That's what you say.
You go rub one out and you go about your day.
All right, let's go to alimony, you dirty bastards.
Are you kidding? Listen, men will do anything. They're dumb. Okay? If fuck it. You use everything you can. I would. I've said that on this show multiple times.
Use everything that you can. You've said that multiple times. All right, we're about 30 minutes in. We got to go to some of our comments here. First of all, let's see here. I know a woman where she lost all her kids, got child support put on her. It was due to the ex-husband knowledge of laws and his manipulations. It can happen. Yes, it absolutely can. What we're saying is the rarity, and maybe it should happen more often.
Men have to do more work.
This is more towards the whole prenup thing. Why Jen thinks that's bad because you're expecting divorce. See, I don't know. I don't know if talking about a prenup before marriage means you're expecting divorce.
It depends on, you know what, that depends on what you're coming into the marriage. Like as an adult getting married, like that's a different conversation, right? But if you're young and you have nothing, why would you sign a prenup? Like that's stupid. Like it doesn't, but people can, right? Depends on assets. Depends on a lot of things.
Well, there was one time that me and an ex of mine, we were discussing marriage at one time, and we were both, we didn't have very much, but we weren't totally broke, and it just looked to me like the way I took it back, the way she came at me with it. She said, "Well, if we were to ever get married, we're getting a prenup because you have all these kids and you have this and that or whatever." And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, did you just call me a fucking loser? Did you just tell me that I'm not going to make anything of myself? And the karma of it is now I have pretty much anything and everything I could possibly want, and she lives in the projects of Austintown. Karma hit that bitch with the ugly tree.
I don't know. Atlas Novak said, "Did somebody hit divorce?" Yes, there are divorces going on every day, Atlas. And then Mary, for some reason you're not showing up, but I'll read your comments in a second here. And we lost Michelle to Wi-Fi, so she'll be back. All right.
Do you know what would clear up some of this?
What?
Some of the prenup thing, just at least with the kids thing.
Yeah.
50-50 shared parenting as a standard would help at least that part, because
I think, yes, I agree. I think that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. Like, I think that should be the norm, and then you go from there, right? Like, you have to disprove it either way from there. But like in a divorce, like the standard is just start at 50-50. Like,
yeah, and some of the disqualifying things from 50-50 wouldn't be, things where you have to have like proof that somebody's unfit. It could just be, well, you have to live within a certain distance of each other for it to work. If you live, an hour apart, then 50-50 is not going to work. You got to live so close or whatever. So it's not like, like a competition, but 50-50 being the standard, really needs to be, that needs to be the standard. needs to be half and half, because otherwise you just open it all up to the arguing. And
and what do you guys think about this? But to what Jen, some folks are not capable of being a parent. Yeah, we're not saying that like it stays there. We're saying it should start there, right? You start at 50-50 and then you fight back and forth either way. Like if she's a drug addict or you're a drug addict, maybe it leans a little bit the other way. If she's been to jail 6 times and you haven't, maybe it leans that way. You know, if you shot the judge in the courtroom, maybe there should even no longer be a discussion. You know, that's what we're saying. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tina.
No, it's you know what? Like, this is the thing, is that if I had children and something were to happen between me and my wife, I would absolutely be like, yeah, no, I'll visit. Like, I would not for a second, like, and that's just my opinion, but that I would just think she would be a better caregiver, and I would be the guy to come to for advice and stuff. Like, that's my opinion of me, right? So, like, that's the thing, is, like, should it be equal? Absolutely. The reason for divorce is some people are shit parents. Like, that's true too, right? Like, some people just become shitty. Like, it's so hard to dictate, because should it be 50-50? Absolutely. But the problem is people are fucking stupid, you know?
Well, that and a lot of times it's like I said, and Ryan tried to explain too. You know, the whole this whole bias. I mean, and I'm just going from the course that I went through here in Ohio. You know, if it wasn't for my ex actually starting a fight that a magistrate had to break up in the courthouse, I would have probably never got my kids, just for the simple fact that she was a female. And I didn't understand that at all. Like, I cleaned up I went from, you know, a thug to a parent. You know, I cleaned up my act. I quit doing any and every extracurriculars. I went and got real job. You know, I got my shit together. And in the eyes of the court, because she was mom and we were never married, none of that fucking shit mattered. You know, she had to prove to, you know, that whole courthouse that she was a fucking fool for me to even get considered. And the first time I actually went to get a lawyer to start the process, the lawyer looked at me straight up, and this is what actually changed me a lot. The lawyer looked at me and said, I can get your kids away from this woman, but the courts will never give it to you. And I looked, and I'm like, why? And he's like, honestly, and I'm not trying to be ignorant, and I'm not trying to judge you, but look at yourself. Because at that time, I had long hair, I had piercings everywhere, I always showed off my tattoos and stuff. You know, he looked at me and said, you will never get custody of your kids the way you look. Now, times have changed, but he was absolutely right. Because in the eyes of a traditional court, you know, no matter what my character was, it was all about, he's a man, let's see how he fucked up. Everywhere, I always showed off my tattoos and stuff. Yeah, he looked at me and said, "You will never coming from."
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that it is that way, but
kids, the way you look. Now, times have changed.
It is that way. I'm sorry.
We got double up or something.
I don't know where that's coming from.
I'm trying to pull up this comment from Mary Lou, and I had it muted, but it keeps coming through anyway. So screw it. Mary Lou, we see your comments. Thank you for watching the show. I wanted to respond to him, but I can't get him to pull up for whatever reason. So it's whatever.
Can you just read it out to us?
I was trying, but like if I opened the tab to read the thing,
can't read, right?
Yeah, no. When I open the tab to read the thing, you guys hear the echo. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make a comment on what she said, and then you guys can talk about it, and I'll go grab my phone, and then it'll work. So she was talking about, we are not apparently speaking enough about, you know, talking prenup with the children before marriage, right? So, like, what are some of the things that you guys would want to say to a particular partner before you got married about the kids? And I'll be right back.
You know what? Actually, so I did this. So my wife and I, we're not married, or we don't have any kids or anything, but we do live with her parents. And one of the things that we discussed was, if something happens to her, do you want me to stay here with your parents because they're older and they need help? Or do you want me to fuck off? You know? And she was like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, talk to them. They're your parents. Talk to them, because that's a reasonable consideration for the future. And, you know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I said, look, if anything happens to me, yeah, go have a great life. You're going to be rich. But that's, you know, But for her, we had that conversation just in case. But
as far as a prenup for the kids are concerned, I kind of, I have mixed feelings on it. I mean, it's kind of in theory and on paper not a bad idea, but I'm more of a traditional looking person, and this is the reason why I'm not married. Once I'm married, I'm married. That's it. We're sticking it out through thick and thin. And if I got a person already in the mind frame where just in case, which is not bad, I'm all about a plan B, but just in case something goes wrong that we need to set this, and this, then that just sits in the back of my mind. And I'm sure it does to females too. See, whereas, I never planned on, we're together, we're down the road together, thick or thin.
Well, that's what I thought too. I thought that once I got married, I was going to be married forever. I mean, I was married to this man for 24 years and it didn't work out like that. I had 3 kids with this man. It just wasn't meant to be like that. Things happened and here I am.
See, and that's kind of where I'm coming from the opposite end. I want to ask Michelle when she gets back, so hopefully she's listening. But that's kind of why I wanted to ask you ladies why prenup is such a dirty word. And I get where Marco's coming from now.
It's not a dirty word. It's not.
I get where Marco's coming from now, that it looks like you're not taking it serious. But for me, right now, where I am in my life, I am taking it serious. Like when I commit, we're committed, right? So like we need to have these hard talks now. Like what happens to the business we build? What happens to the kids? What if we can't have kids? Like you should talk about all that beforehand, because when you say forever, it's supposed to be forever. Like that.
Yeah. When you say I do and you take those vows, that's why you get married. It's supposed to be forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't just go up to, and have that big wedding and say, okay, well, we're just going to stay married for 5 years, or we're just going to do a trial run and see how this goes. No, that's when you fall in love with somebody and whoever, whether it be the woman or the man, asks the other one, hey, I want you to be my forever. It's not just forever doesn't mean a year from now or 5 years from now. It's supposed to mean forever.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that whole, it's become a culture, a divorce culture. Yeah. Whereas, the marriages, what's the statistic? Like 60% of marriages fail or are destined to fail, whether it be your first or your third or whatever. And I think that whole cushion that people look back on, whether it be alimony, whether it be you get half, whether, all that stuff like that. I think that cushion gives a lot of these people like, fuck it. I could go and do what the fuck I want. I still have a little something to fall back on if this doesn't work out, instead of saying, all right, this ain't going to work out. We have to figure out how to make it work out.
I tried that too.
I got Mary Lou's comments now. So, Michelle, that is a good thing. No parent should lose rights because of a conflict between the parents. I agree. Yeah. Not every parent wants 50-50 custody, but if it's wanted, it should be the case. And Mary Lou is saying that it's unrealistic to discuss it in most cases, to discuss a prenup. I don't see how it's unrealistic to discuss it. All right, we got another comment coming in. What if divorce is due to adultery? Is it still 50-50? This is a good one.
What does your sex life have to do with your kids?
Of course, it's still 50-50.
A divorce is between the two people married. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the children.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And the children shouldn't be involved in that.
So unless you're like West Virginian or Tennessean or whatever the hell, and you're fucking your stepdaughter or your stepson, that shit don't go.
Sick.
That shit don't go. That's like wrong.
Margo, why you got to go to the extremes though all the time? Like with
this is a filthy bastard. That's why.
I felt bad about my question about the headshots earlier. You just like well, what about if you fucked your sister? Ryan, your sister's kind of cute. Marco, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm just gonna leave that one alone there.
See the valuable lesson you learned today? See that? Thank you. All right, let's try to get Michelle back in here for closing comments.
A friend of mine who's watching just sent me a message and he's like, well, unless you're fucking the kid. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, guy, damn it. Dude, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you're dirty. Okay.
We have a certain. Or what do ladies feel about this? Here's something for your sister here. Alimony.
Yeah.
Now, how much does it take to actually raise or do what you got to do? Because a lot of these women out here, especially they get with these men who finally make it, like a singer or some shit like that. Now all of a sudden, them 5 years is worth $30 million. You got me fucked up. Okay. Especially your whole job was just to fuck your husband.
I'm not getting that much. I'm definitely not getting that much. But there's going to be some negotiation with that. I'm sure that but because I was married to him for so many years, they take that and I don't know how they work it out, but they kind of multiply it by how many years you've been married to that person.
Well, if it was up to you and it wasn't up to they, if it were up to you, what do you think you should get and for how long?
Yeah.
They take it by what you are used to, what the standard of living you were used to.
No, what do you think?
What do you think is fair though?
You said making a good point.
You said
hold on. Do not stop talking, because this is not what should be said on any sort of public record.
Yeah, no.
What she wants?
No. Never mind.
Yeah.
We retract that question. But no. But let's take it as a whole, because I see where Marco's coming from, and I don't know. I'm kind of either side on it, right? Like, again, if you help somebody build the business or you stay home, you're definitely entitled to some. How much? If you built the business with them, 50-50 seems fair, right?
Right.
But if you married a Kardashian, right, like, and they're a millionaire, I don't think that should make you a millionaire. I don't think that, like, the divorce should make you.
I mean, if
you
married a millionaire and you came into that with nothing, I mean, I don't think you should leave with $30 million in your pocket.
No. I think alimony should cover your living expenses, right? Like, you should be able to live off of it. You should be able to stay, somewhere around the same income you were at. You should be able to be comfortable, like they say. I don't know if he's a millionaire, if you should stay comfortable like a millionaire. I'm just saying you should still be able to eat at your favorite restaurants. You know what I'm saying?
The way I look at it and the way she said it brings up a good point. All right, say whether it be male or female, you got a little bit of money and you take somebody who had nothing and you put them in a lifestyle that you wanted them to have, that you gave to them. Now they want to leave. You deserve a lifestyle that you wanted to leave just because I provided that for you or I showed you that? That's some bullshit. If you wanted that lifestyle, then you should have stayed.
See, this is the thing, it depends on the timing, right?
But
sorry, go ahead.
They're going to get a good lawyer, and that lawyer, is going to be, one of those top-notch lawyers that's going to get that for them.
It doesn't always work that way.
Michelle, what do you got? Welcome.
It's going to. You know what I mean?
So what if there were no lawyers and you just had to work it out amicably amongst yourselves?
Well, then you're not going to get shit.
That's the problem with divorce is whenever you put everybody, when you essentially give up your decisions to a lawyer inside of a divorce court, they are battling, and for every minute they battle, you pay.
You absolutely do.
You pay them. And why? Why can't you just amicably sit down with the person that you're separating from and work it out?
But then why are you getting a divorce?
Nothing good happens in divorce.
Yeah, well, the word amicably only gets used when divorce situations happen, I noticed. Not very many people use it.
The other party doesn't want to give you anything, and that other person is saying, well, you're going to give me this because I deserve this, and blah, blah, blah. This is how I've been living all these years, and I'm not walking away with anything.
Well,
so
see,
nothing gets solved, and that's why you have to have lawyers.
But if you've been living that way for so many years because of the other person, then then that's your ass. Whether it was good or bad, you kind of got to make your own choice there. You can live in paradise but get treated like shit, or you can get treated good as fuck and live mediocre. But a lot of these people are like, no, I want to be treated like I'm the queen and I should take I deserve all this stuff because I did this for so many years.
But you guys have to realize, an NBA player from the Cleveland Cavs is not going to marry somebody like me who has absolutely nothing. Okay, so that case would not really pertain to me. An NBA player is going to marry one of the Cavs cheerleaders, who makes money.
Not necessarily. We get all kind of storybook movies about shit like that.
They'd marry me. Let's be honest.
That wouldn't be in my case. That wouldn't be my scenario. So it's not like I could be like, oh, well, now I'm going to take him to the bank and I'm just going to get this because he got me a boob job and a butt lift and all this stuff.
I want one boob.
You know what I'm saying?
If we're splitting everything in half, I want a tit.
But I married somebody who basically had nothing and I had nothing, and we built a life together.
Oh my God.
And I stayed home with the children and I raised the children.
So here's a question for you.
Not a college education.
I don't know. We're gonna let Michelle go here in a minute. But to what Marco said, I don't know if I want a tip, but I want to see if they can deflate them like 50%. That's what I want to. Like, can we stick a needle in and bring that boob and ass job down? To its pre.
This is why there are courts. This is why there are courts, because of shits like you two who are like, you know what? If I have to give you money, I want to mutilate your body. That's you two fucks are the reason we have to have courts.
Here's I have an important question though. I got one question. No. Question.
What do you got, Michelle? We've talked over like 3 times.
I just think it's very important to identify that with whatever everyone's dealing with, there are tools out there that not everybody, especially middle working class, have access to, that there are for them with regards to alienation, and that if Lisa's or anybody feels like your ex-spouse or current or their almost ex-spouse is alienating, there is somebody they can bring into the courts. There is somebody also for resources where they can have a mediator, and if the mediator doesn't work, that's fine. But bringing it into the fact that if you feel like you're consistently butting heads with the ex-spouse or the current, almost ex-spouse, you can recommend, I'd like to continue going to some kind of mediation or therapy with a group, with somebody involved in it that can help communicating with parents. And in general, especially if you had a situation where another parent, what Marco was mentioning, is abusing or is dealing with addiction, right? Let's bring it to the fact that you're dealing with, it's not even so much the person's doing drugs, they're dealing with addiction. Mm-hmm. They need those services and help so that everyone in general could be a more productive and effective family. So if you always talk about it at the table, even if you know that you have some sort of feelings for the other person, bring it to the table where it's everyone's mental health here is of utmost importance to provide a healthy environment for the children, right? And because if you're a happy individual, your kid's gonna be a happy individual. So bringing it to the table like that in front of any attorney or person of, that can help. Sometimes they don't give an F, sometimes they do, but it's important to always use that language of, I want to make this a supportive environment for our kid, and I'm feeling very, out of the loop or isolated. I have rights as a parent, specifically, who wanted to, we had discussed and agreed upon the role of me staying home and taking care of our child. And from what I know, you have a lot of any woman, any man too, if a man was in that position, has rights that if they didn't sign a prenup, then more than likely would get something in return so that they can provide for themselves. I mean, and I also think there's a way around it where you don't feel like you're being victimized. There's resources. It's hard because we're going to deal with it when we go home. We have to swallow things. But if you come back to the table with what other resources do I have? I think that was one thing when I was getting divorced, I wasn't aware of other resources I could tap into. There are a lot of divorce people that have these different titles, alienation, experts, coaches, especially on Clubhouse. You can tap into them for resources that could help you along.
No, fuck.
Along the way. She's out right at the end. Marco, go ahead.
Well, as far as what she was just saying, she's absolutely right. Problem with that is first of all, both of the parents in the situation have to be willing and want to have the child's best interest at hand.
You're absolutely right.
Now, the problem that I went into when I went for the whole moderator type deal shit, it was still biased towards her. They wanted us to go to moderation because they wanted to keep the kids with her. and she, acted the fool. I had to bank on her acting a fool for me to get my kids, and I did, and I won because I knew the chick. But now here's a question, for Miss. What's your sister's name? It's real small. I can't see it.
Lisa.
Okay. Now this is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that if the tables were turned,
mm-hmm.
if you were in your ex's position
mm-hmm.
and he was in yours, everything took place the same way,
mm-hmm.
but it was swapped. Do you feel that he is entitled to everything you're asking for?
No. I mean, I don't believe that he would be entitled to spousal support.
That is not equal.
But listen to me. He makes $120,000 a year.
I understand that, but I'm saying
everything's swapped.
Everything's swapped. You made this now.
Oh, then yes.
So you think that he would deserve whatever you're asking for?
He was the one that stayed home with the children.
Yeah.
And I worked and I was the breadwinner.
Right.
Then yes.
Yeah.
Not very many women look at it that way, and that's where we're at.
I 100% do.
Yeah. So Marco, go ahead.
But if I was making the money that I'm making now and he got custody of the children and I did not, then I would expect him to pay child support, regardless of how much.
Well, I'm not talking about child support. Child support is a totally different thing. But I'm talking about what you say you deserve. Absolutely. If the tables were turned and he said he deserved whatever, would you agree?
Yes. But the judge may not say that. The judge may not give me alimony. I don't know.
You have a better chance than him, I'll tell you that.
Yes, I do.
I missed it. We can't. Here's rubbing his. Okay. Anyways, Marco, I'm going to take you out for a second. Try to get Michelle back in here. Ping her to get her back in here for closing. So while we do that, listen, we're coming to the end of our show here, and this was a great conversation on men's rights. We'll probably do it again. To the viewers, if you like this, please like this, share it, comment it. Let us know in the comments section below what you think about men getting more alimony and how you think we can solve the issue of men's rights, the inequality in the court systems. I think we came up with a couple things today, just to kind of recap that are really good. I'm going to bring Dino back in because he's being weird in the background. I really liked, the idea of a 50-50 split right off from the back in the court system. I think that would help solve a lot of problems that you just start there and you can go either way from there. The other thing that I think people need to realize, again, I'm going to plug him again because someday I hope to get him on the show. But if you don't know, check out Jordan Peterson. He's got a great quote on this where he says that basically too many people don't know how to be negotiators. That's why you need lawyers and all this shit. Like too many people don't understand that a negotiation, everyone's leaving unhappy, right? And I feel like that's the same problem with so many marriages falling apart. Is like everyone has to be unhappy. But people think that there's always a happy outcome. People think that there's always going to be a silver lining, and life ain't like that. You gotta realize that when shit goes wrong, you either fix it or you don't. And I'm sorry, but 9 times out of 10, it's not sunshine and rainbows. So fix the shit, right? Because you're better off than not having nothing. That's my take on it. We're getting Divorce Diaries back in here. But before we get out of here, I wanted to thank our special guest, Lisa. Thank you so much for being brave and coming on the show. You were amazing. I love you, sis. Randy, thank you for coming on the show. What do you got to say real quick?
There is a silver lining.
What's the silver lining?
The silver lining is you're not with that person anymore.
No. Okay.
Dividing everything up might be painful, but the worst thing was being with them. And now you're not. That's the silver lining.
That's
Randy, I'd love to have you on the show. We got to get you to come back again one day. Do you got anything to plug?
Do I? Yeah. Madison Park basketball, Lakewood. Madison Park block party. Or Madison Court block party. Sorry. Madison Park basketball, it's a Facebook group, and Madison Court block party.
Okay. Michelle, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just kill your camera and let's just do voice. That should help you out a little bit. There you go. Okay. Bye, Dino. Michelle, one more time, thank you for coming on the show. I look forward to seeing you in person tomorrow. Let the people know why they should come see you tomorrow night at the Funny Bone.
Divorced, married, or single, everybody can relate to my life and the connection to theirs, the irony of failure, quote unquote, beautiful mishaps. Boop. Improv, stand-up sketch, gonna love it. Woo, woo.
Rock on. And you can call the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls. Remember, if you call tomorrow, you can get tickets for $5 off. My cheap ass will be doing that. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. This is all the show, you guys, that we have for you. Once again, like, share, comment. Let us know what you think about everything that we said today. If you love it, if you hate it, whatever you got to do. Don't forget to check out the Six City Comedy Festival, our glorious sponsors, Brick and Equity and Ohio City Barbecue. And finally, and most importantly, get your tickets to the comedy tasting and get your tickets to see Michelle right now. I know you got $50. You know you got $50. Just get it done.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you again next week.
Ryan.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye, everybody.
Deep Space is a safe place.